Welcome to the Pressure Beast Podcast.
We may be under stress, but we always stay composed.
All right, welcome back, Beasters. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about code and code-related items.
Four-letter word that everyone loves. Code.
Oh, that one. Yes.
That one.
Let's talk about joint reviews.
Joint reviews.
Joint reviews. There's a myriad of them, right? Obviously, you got National Board, you got ASME. Within ASME, you got a family of stamps.
Yep.
You got ASME reviews, National Board reviews, state-run reviews, reviews here in the continental U.S. and outside U.S.
So each review team, right, whether it's ASME, National Board, or jurisdiction doing it, they all do it completely different. They all go into different depths, different speeds, different time frames. What is your preference? Like, would you rather the ASME joint review, National Board, or any jurisdiction that you've done?
I truly believe the harder the joint review, the better the outcome. So with that being said, I would probably say it comes down to the team leader's experience, knowledge,
Right.
vibrancy, give a shitness, if that's a word. But I would probably say National Board does a great job of doing joint reviews, followed by ASME, and then followed by the states.
So,
but let me just add the caveat that an ASME joint review by an ASME team leader, they're not doing the National Board primarily. They're primarily just there to do ASME. National Board does ASME and National Board reviews.
Right.
So,
but
a little bit different.
ASME joint reviews by far probably the hardest, right? Every document they pick up, they look up the reference code for that, and they go line by line of that document. It's a long review, 2 full day review.
2 proper full days.
2 proper full days plus some.
Right.
Got some overtime on those, but I think National Board's kind of the gold standard of what a joint review should be.
Yes.
They're, as far as the process and the timing and what to expect, they're all pretty similar, right? As far as National Board, depending on the team leaders, but the team leaders make a huge difference. My personal opinion, I'm the same way with you. The harder the review is, the more benefit it is for that shop, more benefit it is for the inspector and the supervisor, right?
Yeah.
It flushes out what the shop's doing wrong. It gives them a laundry list of, hey, you can do this better going forward. It teaches them something if they have a good team leader, right? So the difference is if a team leader is just going to be a dick and go in there and find a bunch of shit and just want to,
There to be an asshole.
30-day follow-up or whatever the case may be, that doesn't benefit anyone. Yeah, that puts fear into the shops, and then they overthink it and forget how to spell their name. But the team leaders that go in there and they hammer them, and then they turn around and say, okay, let me teach you how to do it right.
Moment, yeah.
Those are the team leaders that we need. That is the way it should be.
Yeah.
Joint reviews absolutely need to be an audit, and they need to find what's wrong, but they need to teach how to do it right as well. I know it's not their job. I know it's not in their job description to teach, but the shops that I've dealt with that had that hard team leader that taught them afterwards, after they nailed them to the wall, man, they turned a new leaf, right? They say, okay, well, I'm no longer afraid of joint reviews. I want to see what I'm doing wrong. I want to improve. I want to get better.
But there's also a line in the sand. Fair is fair, right's right, and wrong's wrong.
Right.
I admire and respect team leaders that hold it to code.
Right.
When they start bringing in preferences, and hey, they might have good ideas, right? But I've been in some where their preferences, hey, we're putting this in the manual, we're doing this, and I'm like, hold on, time out, let's discuss it with the shop before we go telling them they got to make 3 more steps. With that being said, but what I find interesting, and and I've thought about how it could be different, but I've never come up with a great answer. There's a conflict of interest on behalf of the AI and supervised side inside that joint review.
Oh, absolutely.
They're supposed to be part of the team, auditing team, and they're supposed to be neutral.
Right. But their paycheck relies on it passing.
And the quality of that manufacturer coming through that joint review depends on what the preparation they were did to help them. And obviously the team leader runs the show. No question about that. But it just that conflict of interest. And I always thought that primarily a good joint review should be held between the team leader and the AI in the shop, and the supervisor's there almost as a referee to say, hey, this is imbalance, this is out, but this is a preference. Yeah, you screwed up, or let's go look into this deeper, figure out, maybe a solution, like a fly on the wall, so to speak. And that's kind of the way I always conducted myself as a supervisor in a team.
I've always tried to, but
allow the AI to handle AI stuff, and let them answer the questions and let them feel a little heat and learn and be a little bit better. But
stepping back real quick, I wanted to address the whole preferences of the team leader issue. And I don't know how much of it is preference and how much of it is actual knowledge, right? I've ran across team leaders, national board team leaders, jurisdictional team leaders, that they're pretty much coming out of a shop and they have one shop experience and that's how that one shop did it. Or they're coming out of one AIA and that's the way that AIA does it for that region. Believe it or not, AIAs per region, completely different.
I'll tell you right now, Hartford is not the same on the West Coast as they are on the East Coast.
No, neither is Bureau Veritas or any of the other ones.
Two different philosophies.
How
we treat our clients over there is different than East
right.
Coast.
It's all regional, and you get team leaders that are ingrained in that region, in that philosophy, in that or in the way that they did it as a shop owner, or how they did it, and that's what they know.
Yeah,
they've never seen the other side of it. They've never seen that there's alternate ways of doing it.
We all have our strengths, and I think those AI team leaders, I guess everybody, right? If you're heavy in welding, man, you're gonna pick apart the welding.
Right.
And if you're not very comfortable with NDE, you're gonna like, why don't you guys look at that and tell me if it's good, So design calculations and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I've had the benefit of having done many over a decade in Mexico, primarily. Most of all your Mexican cities, most of the shops down there I've been in as joint reviews and stuff. But I have to say, what they go through down there in Mexico is probably 10 times harder than any joint review I have ever done in the States.
Really?
Hands down.
Have you done any ASME joint reviews in the States?
Yes.
And
Yes.
they're worse than that?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm talking, you're bringing in NDE companies and grilling them. You're talking about bringing in engineers and testing them like at a very high level.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's 2 full days. And I say full days. It's like, you start in the morning and the first day, you probably have breakfast with the team leader at the hotel, you review the manual, and then off to the shop you go. And then you're usually there to 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yep.
And then the second day, depending on what you find and do all that, so it could go anywhere from 6 to 10 o'clock at night on the second day.
Yeah.
And it just is, there's no bullshitting. There's very little, lunch is respectably. You can take a break for lunch and, kind of drop the conversation and casually talk. But once it's time to get to work again, it's get to work again.
Right.
And, but I'm telling you, it's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. But the shops down in Mexico got their shit together because of these high demanding joint reviews that are just painful to go through. Now, did some of these team leaders step out of their bounds and out of lines? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But did most of them provide a good quality joint review? Hands down, yes.
And that's the way it should be.
I don't want to get into certain states, but there's certain states, man. I don't know if I told you about this, but just kind of a preference. We have a client down in another state, a little bit, one of the coasts, that when I asked him, I said, hey, how'd your joint review go? And he said it was ridiculous. He said we had about an hour and a half conversation about going over the package and all that. And he said for the rest of the day, we sat there and bullshitted about everything but the joint review.
Was that a jurisdictional or a national board?
I believe it's a national board.
Yeah. And that's the problem.
And I don't know that to be a fact. Yes, I do. I'm pretty sure it's a national board. Yeah, because they have the stamp.
The team leader has a lot to do with it. And I understand, just like a AI or a supervisor, you get one of them light up implant. Oh,
no, I did not. I did not opt for that.
bad news.
Oh, why?
That was the April Fool's joke.
Get out of
No,
here.
our podcast wizard over there informed me the other day that that was all started as a joke. No light up implants.
You know,
So you
I
can't
was
pass your joint
I
review just
was
'cause you have some light
about
up.
5% of the way to get my wife talked into it. I was at least a solid 3%. You know what I mean? To be like, hey, you know,
Yeah, for you, those of you that don't know what we're talking about, go listen to the other podcast. But
blow up body.
yeah, there
blow up.
some glowing implants that you could get the
for it.
party started. But you know, if they blink to the music, that'd be pretty cool, man.
If there's let's get back on subject.
back to joint reviews. But you know, the team leader, of course, has a lot to do with it. But a lot of it. So my biggest pet peeve in the entire world with joint reviews, and I've had National Board do it, I've had jurisdictions do it, and I've had ASME do it. The shops that need to be nailed to the wall, the ones that don't give a shit, that they fly by the seat of their pants and don't plan anything and don't do anything right.
Fucking irritating.
At the end of the day, it's like, oh, this is the best joint review I've ever been in, and praising them and everything else. Don't find any deficiencies. And the shops that want to do it right, the shops that are good, man, they will nitpick the ever living shit out of them. And I don't get it. But as a team leader, just like supervisor AI, it's all about trust, right? The more the team leaders trust that supervisor or that AI, the easier the joint review is typically going to be. Same way, the more the AI trusts the shop, the less he really has to go out there and dig and find and teach and everything else. Right. Because, it's me this time. I broke the cardinal rule this time. So if they trust the team leader or trust the supervisor and trust the AI, I understand it being a little bit easier of a joint review, but it should never be the fact that you're going and sitting down for a couple hours bullshitting and not looking at anything. Shops pay a lot of money to have this audit done, and I would venture to say the bulk of them want a good audit.
I hope so, because the shops that don't probably aren't going to be around very long. But the shops that use this as, hey, let's use this as a learning experience to better our quality and commitment to code. Yeah.
Yeah. But the old adage, nice guy finishes last, man. It just, the better the shop is, the more they get nailed during joint review. And not that they shouldn't get nailed during joint review and all that, but at the end of the day, don't tell the shitty shops that they did great, and tell the good shops that, oh man, you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know. I've never been able to pinpoint what a team leader walking into that shop, what the difference between either the shitty shops have really personable people that they like, or what it is. But there's
I've never figured that out either. But it's uniformal across state, ASME, and national board reviews. Anywhere in the country or other countries. Yeah, it's just that. It just kind of falls in that line, and I don't understand it either. So
if you had a really hard joint review and they left you a bullet list of things to fix, you might be a good shop. I mean, and if you had a really easy joint review, that you might be a shitty shop. I mean, just something to look at. I don't know.
What's your opinion on 30-day follow-ups? When should that be implied or administered? I understand
the whole if it can't be fixed that day,
in that time frame. That's beyond maybe someone's control. So can't get a hold of a third-party vendor. You can't lose power, and you can't redo your manual. There's a myriad of things you may not be able to accomplish that day. But a teaching moment versus a 30-day follow-up. When would you apply a 30-day follow-up as opposed to use it as a teaching moment in that moment to correct a situation?
Right. So I've actually only been involved in one 30-day follow-up where I was either the inspector or the supervisor.
Well, you don't qualify to answer the question.
and
one.
The funny thing is,
I got zero.
You got zero, right? Yeah. But I requested the 30-day follow-up.
Oh, that's different.
And the reason I requested it is because I wanted the shop to go out and redo 100% of the alteration that they did.
Oh, I remember that.
Right.
Yes.
Not because I thought they did a bad job or the paperwork messed up or anything. It was because the team leader was sitting across the table from me, held up a piece of paper, which is the R form, and he was reading the front of it, and I looked at the back of it, and I said, man, that has my name on it, but that's not my signature and that's not my national board number. Like the national board number was 1 digit off.
Holy shit.
And it wasn't even close to my signature, but it was my name. So the guy out in the field, instead of calling me to go out and look at it, when I was the inspector for the shop, I was now the supervisor for the shop. Instead of having me call out or calling me out and go look at it, he forged my name on it and all the traveler and the R form and everything else. And I noticed it, and
Take him out behind the woodshed.
you know, I would have had a lot bigger issue, but the shop had already previously fired that guy for doing shady shit. I don't even remember the dude's name or anything like that. So I'm sure he's out there doing it to other people. But yeah, so I made them go cut out 100% of what they did and redo it. They shut the entire plant down for this alteration again because of this 30-day follow-up. Just because I have no idea what the hell they did. They forged my name, so obviously they didn't do half of it right because they didn't want me to come out and look for it or look at it. So stuff like that where you have to physically go fix something, I understand 30-day follow-ups. But just because the NDE company can't get their written practice updated in that day, I don't know if that's a reasonable 30-day follow-up. A supervisor can, even an AI, should be able to go out and say, okay, yeah, they updated it. Shoot that team leader an email. Give them a call. And I don't think it warrants the full 30-day follow-up.
I've never known this, but I've wanted to know this, and I've asked, and it's always been vaguely answered, but is there a quota for flunking or 30-day follow-ups from these team leaders? Like if they all give glowing reviews, at some point do they say, hey, maybe you're not inspecting deep enough? Or if you got too many failures or too many 30-day follow-ups, so they come back and say, hey, what's going on? I believe that there's to be a, maybe not a quota, but a algorithm formula to say out of 100 shops, you should have theoretically one failure and maybe 2, 3 30-day follow-ups or something like that. I've never got a straight answer out of the team leaders on that, but I have heard conversations where they've talked about, hey, there's,
So I've asked many team leaders that same kind of question. Never really got a straight answer. There's one team leader I used to work with that he would tell me, he's like, hey, man, I kind of need to put something on here. They're going to start asking questions if every single review I do has no deficiencies. Understood. Like, that's understood. If every joint review is
no deficiencies,
you're
obviously not doing your job right.
Yeah, you're not digging hard enough. I mean,
you dig hard enough, you can find plenty of them.
There's not a shop in the world that I can't go into and not find a deficiency.
Unless they're not doing any work.
Even then.
You probably still find some. Where's your welded continuity log?
Even if it's just an R stamp holder that has never used the R stamp, I'm sure I could find something wrong. I don't know that there's a quota. I think there's an unwritten rule that...
There's got to be. I would venture to say at some point, like, hey, you've flunked every shop. Something's wrong.
So I know there's a thing where if you piss off enough shops, they just quit scheduling you. So team leaders for the national board, at least ASME... are ASME employees, or are they contractors as well?
I believe they're contractors.
Yeah, so ASME National Board team leaders are contractors. They actually own their own companies. They just contract to ASME National Board for that purpose.
They just don't get scheduled no more.
Yeah, so their punishment is not getting scheduled. So, of course, the more you schedule, the more money you make. But if too many shops complain about you stop getting scheduled. So
it was pretty relevant in Mexico because there was a fine line between a very good hard review and abuse.
Right.
And then a couple abuse reports, you're out of there. In fact, not to get too deep into the weeds, but I had one of the top ASME employee guys over the joint reviews contact me. He said, you do a lot of reviews down there, and basically asked me to report back on team leaders.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, basically.
ASME spy. Add that to your resume.
Yeah, he's like, I noticed you do a lot of down there. Most of these team leaders, he goes, I just want to hear if there's a gross abuse. And I reported a gentleman for gross abuse. Really? And yeah, it was ugly. And, not to say I was the reason he no longer was down there, but he had done that to enough shops that you
Right.
know they sort of.
And those people don't need to be in the industry. They don't need to be
No.
doing this.
I was in one where he had decided the shop didn't have enough code knowledge and required that they hire him after the second day joint review.
Hire him.
Hire him for personal code training for 4 hours and pay him directly.
Wow, what a racket, man.
Basically, it was like you got to get more code training, and it's got to be quick. And well, you know what? I can help train you.
offer that service
I offer
by-
that service.
Just by coincidence.
Here's my quote. Let me know if I need a and then demand the check. And I'm like, this is just I
Before he signs that QRR.
I sick to my stomach, man. I had zero respect for that gentleman.
There's no room in the industry for that. I mean, we're all here for one
It was
reason.
right after that when the gentleman from ASME contacted me and said, "Hey, I need to know."
Yeah.
And kind of like, I guess he got reported that, "Hey, you got us bent over backwards, and if we don't hire you, then at a serious hourly rate."
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And plus travel and then hotel and which he's probably double charging for.
Yeah, right at the end of the joint review.
Oh.
I got up and walked out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd file a minority report on that one. Yeah, that's bad. There's no need for that. There's no room for that in the industry. And, you know, I've never done any joint reviews outside of the States. I've done a handful of ASME joint reviews. I can't even begin to imagine how many national board joint reviews I've done or jurisdictionals between Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, all of them.
I've thought about how many joint reviews I've done in my career, and I'd be guessing.
I wish I had kept track.
Yeah.
Either as a AI or as a supervisor, or on the other side of the table. We've gone through joint reviews. We owned our own shop. You've been QC managers in joint reviews. I've been in joint reviews as QC inspectors and manager. And
I remember that one joint review we did when we had Trinity, and you had the chief, you had another team leader,
yeah,
you had, so basically in that room sat, I think 6 different AIs between you and I and them,
yeah.
2 team leaders. We all knew each other. We're all good friends. I mean, they did a serious job.
They did one of the most in-depth joint
They
reviews.
did a really good job.
I mean, which was really surprising, but
They're doing their job.
they're
You know
doing
what I
their
mean?
job.
I didn't have any
these are the
issue
same
with it,
people
but-
that trust us to go get everyone else ready for a joint review. I think it was kind of a stab in that we're leaving that side of the industry. Part of it might have been that they really did not like our fake manual that we gave them to begin with.
Oh, that's right.
we read up
forgot all
a
about
manual
that.
that was such bullshit. I mean, every day the AI has to bring us coffee and donuts and all kinds of fun things, but they were not appreciative of that.
You know, when we had the very first short review for Triton, pissed me off, and I don't know why. I don't know where you were, but anyway, it was. I don't want to mention any names. Everything's fine, and they're like, "Oh, we need to know that you can fill out a data report." I'm like, "Really?
Oh yeah, no, I was there for that
Were
one.
you?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Really? Fill out a data report?" I probably filled out 10,000 of these things, and
Right.
I'm like, well, you know what I mean? They
We review them, sign them on a daily basis, but you know,
and
if
even
we-
when I was an inspector in a shop, you know what I mean? God, you know, I was in shops where we're doing 2,000 and 3,000 vessels a year. I'm like, I filled every one of them sons of bitches out. I'm just like, come on, man, just what? So I'm like, and I filled it out silly. I filled it out very silly, and you could tell I was maybe almost in a small passive aggressive way, and they
Yeah.
were just like, and then anyway, I just.
But you know what that means? It means we're a good shop. We got the tough joint review. That it wasn't just glazed over, and they
Well,
didn't tell
they didn't
us where
give
the,
us any slack because of our experience and knowledge, is what it came down to. They had intimate knowledge of our capacity and ability in understanding code.
right, but they didn't push or test on that. It
No,
was
they
a
did
little
not.
shit.
There was a
It
little
was
shit.
a
that,
little shit that just to piss you off. I mean,
And I guess, I don't know. And that was actually, I remember when that came around, that was more of a newer thing because that really hadn't been very relevant in past years of filling out a data report. That'll
On the
joint review.
review.
Yeah. So, but all right. Let us know your crazy stories from joint reviews. Hopefully, you guys get a tough one. Appreciate them. Understand that they are, and for all team leaders that might be out there, give them hell.
And stay tuned. We plan on having a couple team leaders and higher ups in the industry come on the podcast here pretty soon.
Pick the brain and see what they got to say.
See if there's actually quotas.
There you go. Peace.
All right. Have a good one.